Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ethan Howe from The Past Behind. Just wanted to make a little vlog video. We got a couple things for this video. Want to discuss some things with the band and what's going on with the album. And I got a little thing going on with cases. So the case for our live setup, we're going to change it. I'll explain all that in a minute. But first, I want to talk to you guys about just the band in general for a second. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to talk about is Alex and Gus are no longer in the band. There wasn't any argument between I and them, and it was just creative differences, I guess. Alex started college and that takes up a lot of his time, and Gus wanted to concentrate on school and he was working on another project, I think. So it just didn't work out. They didn't have time for it. So there was nothing bad, no bad blood between me, Alex, and Gus. We're still homies. We still hang out every once in a while. But yeah, so as of right now, it's just me. I am auditioning a couple other people for the band, so we will be able to do some touring and gigging this summer. And as for the album, I'm still working in full force. Alex and Gus helped me wrote the full album, so the whole album is done. Alex and Gus are going to help me track that. In terms of where it's at process-wise, we have done all the tracking. Right now, I'm in the process of reamping all the guitars, and because I didn't really like the original sound. And I am editing the drums and doing all the mixing. And then after that is done, we will go in and fully track all the vocals, which we are at the point where three of the songs are reamped, and I'm happy with where they're at. All the songs are done drum-wise, so we're getting towards the end. I am going to put the release date in the middle of March. I haven't decided what date yet, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The album's almost done. Me, Alex, and Gus are so happy with it. They put a huge part into making the album and helping me and coming to every session and helping me track and record, and it's just been great having them for the process, and I can't thank them enough. So it's 9 new songs, and we are also going to redo the 3 songs from the EP and put them on the end of the album. So it's going to be a 12-song album, and yeah, I hope everyone likes it. So the next thing I want to talk about is the cases. So guys, for the cases, we are switching cases. We are going from this 12U case, which has all of our stuff in it, to this new 16U case. The reason we are making this switch is for a couple reasons. One, the wheelbase on this is terrible. It's so close together that it could tip on a wind gust. I mean, I could literally, just by moving this thing, it would fall over because the wheelbase is so small. See? And the wheelbase is so small that there is just no way I'm comfortable with having that protect all of our gear. So I just invested in this new 16U case. It'll be great. And the other reason I wanted to switch cases was for the fact that I wanted to add a couple things. I want to put this drawer back in, and I also would like to put an interface in here just to be able to record all of our practices and new song ideas and stuff like that. So it should be really good. I bought this off a guy named Carlos. He was absolutely great. We shared a couple stories, and we're actually planning to meet up and jam. So shout out to Carlos for this case. It was a great deal, and it'll serve us well in the band. And yeah, so now I'm going to take you through the process of taking apart this case and putting everything in this case. Alright guys, so the first process that we have to do is we have to take everything out of this case, and I sort everything like wire-wise. So I put all the power cables together, all the XLR stuff together, and then I organize how I'm going to put these rack pieces in the new case. So let's get started with that. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to give a couple shout outs real quick because I had a few people that helped me a lot with getting this rig together. My first shout out wants to go to my guy Andy Hoy at Sweetwater. He's helped me so much with getting the stuff for this set up and telling me about the specs and all that and hooking us up with some stuff. And him and the team at Sweetwater have just been so good to us and the band and helping us out with everything that he's just great. And thank you, Andy, and everybody at Sweetwater that helped us out with everything. And it's just great having them. And also, again, I want to shout out to Carlos for helping me with this case. Real nice dude. Messaged me back super quick, gave me a really good deal on this case, and is actually helping me with a couple music things in the future. So shout out to Carlos. And yeah, so let's get started with taking everything out of this case, and we'll organize it by wire type. Alright guys, so I have pulled all the cabling and organized it. This going on right here is I have two power conditioners and I have one plugged into the other. So all I have to do is flip one switch and both of these turn on at the same time. So in terms of cables, I got power cords here. This is my speaker cable that I have an Axe-Fx. If I ever want to plug my Axe-Fx directly into a cabinet, that's how I do it. Our Wi-Fi router for the X18 that we have that runs our in-ear monitors. I have our snakes, which we have two snakes. We have one feed that goes to our X18, which controls our in-ear monitor sound. And then we have the other snake, which we give directly to front of house, and they plug it into their system. And it just makes everything 10 times easier. And then these are cabling for our aux sends, which go from our X18 into our in-ear monitoring system. This is how the sound gets from the digital mixer into our in-ear monitors. And then I have a couple of weird XLRs. I have one that goes from my trigger module. I use a trigger module for my kick drum, which this turns any microphone into a kick trigger. So it goes from the quarter jack output of my trigger module into an XLR input for a microphone. And this cable does the exact same thing, but it goes to the splitter. So this allows the sound to come out of the trigger module and go directly into the input of our splitter, which this is essentially the cable that allows the bass drum sound to get into our in-ear monitors. And then this is the cable that I plug from my Axe-Fx directly into the splitter, which allows the Axe-Fx to give sound to our in-ear monitors and front of house. So that's all the cabling I have. Now I just got to pull everything out of here and lay it all out how I want it, and then we can put everything in that case. So let's do it. Alright guys, so now that I pulled everything out of that 12U case, which is the smaller case out of the two, I have everything in size order. So things are deeper or skinnier depending on the piece of gear, and I put it from deepest to the skinniest, and that's how I usually keep it organized in the case. So right now I'm gonna open up that case, figure out how I'm gonna put the stuff in it, and we'll get going. And then at the end of this video I also want to put in a signal path explanation. So yeah, let's get started on opening that case up and putting that stuff in it the way I wanna. Alright guys, so this is what I'm going to be going with. Nice thing about having more space is we get to put a drawer on the bottom now. And the things we keep in there are good for tour. Like, we keep our cables in there, phone chargers, wireless units, stuff like that. So that's great to have back. And so again, I said we have it from deepest to skinniest. So I got my Axe effects up top, then my power conditioner for if we ever want to plug the Axe effects into a cab, then my drum trigger, the X18, which is the mixer for our in-ear monitors, then the Art S8 three-way splitter, which is how we get the feed to our X18 and front of house. Again, shout out to Andy Hoy for that piece of gear. Our X-Tuga IEM 1200 in-ear monitor rack, which has been fantastic to us. We're going to do an in-depth review of that soon to come because that has been great to us. 2 power conditioners because that's how many we need to plug in all this stuff. And I did get to incorporate a interface 4-channel to record our practices and do some demo stuff. So that is great. And of course 3U drawer on the bottom, and if you notice we have 2U extra space so we can fit some extra stuff in there if we ever need to. So this is the setup we're going to be going with, and yeah, so let's screw it down and then I'll show you how we rewire it. We'll get it going. Alright guys, here it is all in the case. I really like this setup, and it's not wobbly at all. It's got a strong wheelbase. I can tell this thing is going to fit our needs perfectly. And yeah, it's got the drawer that we got everything in. So what we have in the drawer is our cables for guitar, batteries in case our wireless in-ear packs die, phone charger. These are not, I stress how important these are. These are wraps for cables so that they don't get tangled up and twisted. They go around the cables and keep them nice and straight. Set list so that we remember the set on tour. And the other thing I cannot stress enough to put in your arsenal of things to have on tour is duct tape. Duct tape has saved me so many times on tour. I can't even tell you. So that's what's in the drawer, and everything else I explained before. So now I'm going to go into the wiring process and you get to see all that stuff. So let's get it. Alright guys, I just finished up the wiring. Honestly, this came out a lot better than I thought I was going to. This is probably the cleanest wiring job I've ever done on this rig, so I'm really excited about that. That's what the back looks like, and I'll turn it around so you can see the front. That's what the front looks like with all the wiring done. Very exciting. Alright guys, now that I have everything wired up, let's make sure everything turns on. So there we go. Everything has power, guys. So on top we got the Axe effects, then a power amp, my trigger module for drums, X18 Art S8 splitter, in-ear monitors, 2 power conditioners by Furman, and an audio interface. This is going to be our live setup and our setup for everything else, guys. So now I would like to go over the signal flow with you and talk about that for any of you audio guys that like to know about it. Alright guys, so the signal flow for this is, it's actually pretty straightforward. So everything goes into this S8 splitter. Guitars, vocal, drums. So the way I have it set up is input 1 is my Axe effects. So the output of this goes straight into our splitter. Then the drum trigger is set up the same way. The output of this goes directly into the splitter. Then our third channel is for our second guitar if we ever get one. Channel 4 is vocal 1, which is me. Channel 2 is vocal 2 if we get a second vocalist. That was for Alex. Channel 6 is my snare drum. Channel 7 is for my rack tom. And channel 8 is for my floor tom. And then from the S8 splitter, we have one split that goes here to our X18, and again, this is a digital mixer that we can control from an iPad that goes directly to our in-ear monitors, which I actually have in this case. These are all of our in-ear monitors. You know, just pretty standard wireless units, and they hook up to our in-ear monitor unit. So one split goes to our X18. We can control everything from the iPad. I can actually show you that real quick. It's all on an app called the X Air app, and you connect to this Wi-Fi router, which I'm having trouble doing because it connected to my home Wi-Fi. Well, anyway, so you come on here, you connect to the router that you have in the rig. It comes with one preset. Like the X18 has a Wi-Fi router built into it, but it's not very strong. So I recommend always getting a Wi-Fi router for that unit. And then you come onto the app. Hold on one second. I don't think. Oh, it does have power. Ethernet? Ah, I had this plugged in the wrong spot. So that is why you gotta figure these things out, guys. So, now that is connected to my iPad. So let's go on the app, and my X18 shows right up. It pulls up, and I can control every system or every instrument for every mix for all of us. So the way I have it set up is 1 and 2, because Alex didn't like using in-ear monitors. So I had aux 1 and 2 set up for my in-ear monitors. So these two go plugged in directly into this mix, and I had 3 and 4 set up for Gus, so everything in this mix goes to 3 and 4. And then we could just control everything from there. It's all on the app. It's a great thing. So that's the one split. And then the second split goes to the front of house, which most venues that we play will have a box that they plug all of their connections into, and we just give them our second split, which is right here. It's all in a nice, that's the other thing I wanted to bring up, always label your tails. Like this one's labeled Axe Effects, Rack, Trigger, Guitar 2, Vocal 1, Floor, Vocal 2, Snare. It's all labeled, so always want to label that stuff. So that mix will go to front of house, and they plug it into their stuff, and they get the signal from the Axe Effects, the trigger module, and they will get all of our mic feeds. And of course everything power wise is plugged into these two power conditioners. And yeah, the reason these two are plugged in is because the Axe Effects and the trigger module stay in the rack, so I could just plug them directly in and leave them in the splitter. Everything else I plug in when we get to the venue. So the mic for the second guitar, that we actually use a head and cab for the second guitar, so I plug that in, and all the vocal and drum mics get plugged in once we're at rehearsal or at a gig. So that's how that works, and that is the signal flow for the entire rig. And yeah, that's how we do it. And for practices, we actually have our own mixer board with the cable that goes to the speaker and the power. And this is essentially our front of house. So the way that it would work is you plug these feeds, our second snake, into the mixing board, and that would be your feed. I would get everything that's in here plus all the mic feeds on this mixer board. So that is the signal flow for this rig. And of course I told you about all the stuff that's in the drawer. Great having that back. So that's our rig. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. This has been Ethan Howe from The Past Behind. Thanks for tuning in, watching me recreate our new rig for live, and telling you about the new band stuff. So the album release stuff will be on our Instagram at The Past Behind, and follow us on Snapchat, Past Behind 570. We also have Facebook, The Past Behind. We have any social media you could think of, we're on it at The Past Behind. And if it's not that, it's at _past_behind. So thanks again guys, and we'll see you in the next video. And be sure to check out all the social media plus this YouTube channel for new release dates. Also, I wanted to say on my personal YouTube channel, Ethan Howe Music, I'll put a link for that in the description. I will be releasing playthrough videos of not all the songs, but the songs that are my favorite on the album, and also a bunch of other new covers that I'm doing. So be sure to subscribe to my channel as well. Thanks guys, and have a good day.